Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and I have to admit that it has been years since I have been genuinely excited about some sort of sports car or supercar. Because I get to drive so many different vehicles, and because the new car market is continually shifting to more and more smooth, easy to drive, and technology focused sort of vehicles, I've found myself and many of the people I talk to being disillusioned and generally uninterested with the upper echelon of automobiles. When a new sports car comes out, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, it could do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. It could go nearly 200 miles per hour. It costs $500,000, but so what? Whether it's because you'll never be able to afford it, or because it simply can practically drive itself, or because it's just so easy for your run-of-the-mill Tesla Model S Plaid to do those type of numbers. There's something about the supercar world that has lost its pizzazz. But this car right here, the Lamborghini Revuelto, has made me love supercars again. And it's crazy because I've driven cars that are, on paper, pretty close to this. I mean, to be fair, this is my first V12, and this is my first 1,000 plus horsepower vehicle. But I've driven other hardcore Lamborghinis, and in fact, I just had the McLaren 750S about a week and a half ago, and they were cool, but I still left them being okay with being done driving them. I was like, all right, that served its purpose, but they didn't leave a mark on me. They didn't leave an impact. But this one, especially from the very first time you look at it in this Nero Nemesis black paint color, and then you start appreciating some of the lines where it clearly looks like a modern poster child Lamborghini product, but then you start to look at some of the curves and the haunches in the back, and you become reminded of the Aventador, of the Murcielago, of the Diablo, of these beautiful sports cars and supercars that we used to have hanging on our bedroom walls on posters. You start getting a fizz, as Tedward likes to call it, a special feeling that I haven't gotten by a car in so many years. And then driving it is just absolutely spectacular. So without much further ado, we need to get behind the wheel. But for those of you who are a little bit uninformed about Lamborghini's newest flagship model, we still have a 6.5 liter V12 motor in the back. Right there's the firing order. And it's right there out in the open. I could reach in and touch it and burn my hands if I wanted to. And then with this model, we have not one, not two, but 3 electric motors, 2 in the front and then 1 in the back, built right into the transmission, paired up with the engine, combining together to give you that 101 horsepower figure. But just the naturally aspirated V12 alone gives you 814 horsepower. And being a V12, it's so perfectly balanced and has that quintessential supercar note that you're just not really getting these days from most vehicles. And then on top of all of that, what's surprised me as much as the excitement of this car has actually been the usability. Because again, we had the McLaren 750S recently, and that car felt like a race car that was made to go on the streets. It was very intense, very capable, but it felt limited. This car, I could actually live with day to day to day. It's really comfortable in here. We've got power adjusted seats that don't hurt you the way that the sports seats or carbon bucket seats might in other vehicles. And they've got lumbar support, and we've even got cup holders in here, the flip out kind right here that you could put a bottle in. We've got tilt and telescope adjust steering wheel, which mind you is manual adjustable, but I understand why they might have wanted to do that for this vehicle. We've got a touchscreen infotainment system that actually works really well. The way you kind of put your hand underneath it and then use your thumb to navigate around the screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it looks good and works well. We've got beautiful, nice to touch materials all around the cabin. We've got actual places to put things that they've thought about. And the ride in this car in soft suspension mode is remarkably subtle. It's really, really good. Now, this is a plug-in hybrid vehicle, which means when I start it up, this is all that happens. The car simply turns on. And then if I put it into gear, take the parking brake off, lift up the front end lift. Maybe. There we go. You can leave your garage or your neighborhood or wherever you are in complete silence. And not only is this nice to not be a nuisance, should you not want to be, but you probably are gently pulling this car out of your driveway and out of your garage, and sometimes the roar of the V12 engine is a little much. So the car starts up in this electric drive mode, and you could do a few miles on this 3.8 kilowatt hour battery. Look at that. I'm driving a hybrid. But then you look down at the steering wheel in front of you and you see a number of knobs. The one on the left is for our drive mode with a launch control button in the middle. The one on the right controls our electric vehicle modes between hybrid, recharge, and performance. The one on the bottom left controls our suspension. The one on the bottom right controls our aerodynamic mode, our rear spoiler, the adaptive spoiler. So, with one twist of the red knob, the engine comes to life and we are in Strada, street mode. Very livable, very usable. It's really remarkable. The bandwidth of this car is impressive, but the most impressive is the powertrain and the handling of this car. So let's do one more click over, get us into sport mode, and then let's go into manual shifting and go for a drive. Driving through these corners in sport mode, this isn't a hardcore track car. The steering is actually remarkably light. The shifts are firm but smooth. The power band is approachable. There's nothing too hardcore about this car when you're just driving it daily. But let's shift up to Corsa, manual only in this mode. It's squirming even with all-wheel drive. like about the fact that they went with electric as opposed to force induction is that the power is immediate, and you can still have the sonorous scream of that V12 without any of the exhaust note getting sucked in to turbochargers. It's a very genuine internal combustion experience, complemented by the punch of those electric motors. So they can use the electric motors to fine-tune the driving experience and place little bits of power where it's needed, but then you have the entire orchestra of the V12 behind it to carry the car and to give you that wow factor and experience. It just provides a sports car experience that you can't get with electric alone. You can get the gut punch of the acceleration, and you can get the speed and the performance from electric alone, but driving a supercar is more than just going fast. It's having an excitement and a five senses thrill. And you need the sound. You do. You need the sound. You need the vibration. You need 2 quick shifts down. Maybe even 3. You need sort of that dance with the motor to feel that much more exciting. And the way this car rotates, oh my gosh, having rear wheel steering goes a long way into making this car feel so agile. Carbon ceramics, bringing everything to a halt. To switch our hybrid mode over to performance, giving us even more go juice. That with the smoothness of the V12 along with the capability of the car, you do find yourself getting up toward redline possibly a little bit sooner than you think you are, because you're just going so quick and the engine feels so natural up at those higher revs that even though there's a 9,500 RPM redline, you kind of find yourself running into it a few times and needing to shift and catching you off guard. Oh my gosh. Cars are becoming more computerized and more easy to drive, and it takes less skill and it's less of a true raw experience in them. And this is the first car that I've been okay with that. It is easy to drive. It is much faster than it has any right to be on any US public road, at least, pretty much anywhere outside of Germany or a racetrack. And I do feel like there is an intense amount of technology going on underneath me in order to make this car as unlikely as possible to kill me. But for the first time, I'm just okay with that. It just still puts such a huge grin on my face. Something about the way that it pulls me out of the corner. Oh. And those shifts, they almost hurt in track mode. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it all. I like it all. I don't want it to end. I think this might be one of my favorite driving cars that I've ever spent time in. Oh, it's that good. It really is. The next point we have to talk about is I have gotten more attention in this car than any other vehicle that I've ever had. And I've been reviewing cars for about 7 years at this point. And that includes motorcycles. The closest I have gotten to the amount of attention I got in this car was on the 25th anniversary Suzuki Hayabusa. Bright orange, very iconic motorcycle. I get barely any attention here in Southern California with any car I have. I can have a Rolls Royce, nobody cares. I had a bright blue McLaren 750S last week, nobody cared. I have had this black Lamborghini Revuelto, and I have had people coming up on me, by me on the highway with their windows down, giving me thumbs up, looking out, taking photos, driving by me quick. I've had people running with me here on Ortega Highway trying to keep up. I've had so many more cars get over and let me pass because the imposing mug of this car in their rearview mirror is too much for them to handle. It's so cool, and that's part of what a supercar should be. It shouldn't only be for you as a driver. That's a great driver's car. That's your Porsche 911 GT3 RS. That's your McLaren Senna or your 750S. Now, mind you, a Senna would probably get quite a few looks, but this car, this Lamborghini, gives you what a Lamborghini should give you. And whether you want it or not, it's attention. It's a car that it speaks for itself. That's what you should want from a flagship Lamborghini. That's what the car exists for. It's an enjoyment for you as much as it is for everybody else around you. What you don't fully comprehend about driving a car with 1,000 horsepower is that it's fast everywhere. Most vehicles, you get up here to highway speeds and you punch it and it starts to peter off eventually. This car has no notion of the concept of petering off. It just continues to climb and climb and climb. Oh man, what an incredible machine. Dial it back now here into Strada. Hear how quiet it gets here, even at highway speeds. More so than anything, I want to both thank and commend Lamborghini for making me believe again, for making me be hopeful for a future of exotic cars like this, because like I said at the beginning, they were lost on me. There wasn't much that I was excited about from a high performance car standpoint anymore. But we truly are living in a golden age of internal combustion, and this Revuelto shows you how we can have both. We can have this beautiful handoff between this golden age of internal combustion that we're going through, all this power coming through a naturally aspirated V12 motor, but then have it be complemented and rewarded by electricity and electric motors. And I'm so here for it. I'm so happy about it. Let's be courteous. We'll go over into Sita mode. Silence. Pure silence. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Lamborghini Revuelto. Definitely a bucket list item for me. My first V12 Lamborghini. And I was not disappointed. Not in one bit. Ugh. Especially because growing up, one of my dream cars, my top 3 favorite cars of all time, Lamborghini Murcielago. So this is a bit of driving one of my heroes. And in this instance, it's okay to meet your hero. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Revuelto, check the link below. I'll put our winding road, no talking drive in there. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.